Well, good evening. It's good to see you here. Did everybody here get a brochure and a printout called a Q&A? Good, good. I'm trying to keep my microphone unit on here without it falling off. I'll do my best. Well, as Pastor said, I have been working with Canaan Christian Academy in this program for 18 years now. And in the last 3 years, we have brought in over $230,000 each year for scholarship monies that have helped families like the kind of families you have here help pay tuition. The program does two things that are very important that keep me in the program and working it and keeping other schools like us doing what we're doing. Number one, we want to get more kids into Christian education. Giving scholarship help to some families makes a difference between whether or not they can send their kids or can't. Number two, we want to keep the kids we have in Christian education. We don't want to lose them because of finances. I don't need to tell you that inflation is a real problem in our country today. And sometimes, rightly or wrongly, parents will make a decision not to send their kids because they weigh the other expenses they have in life, not only groceries, but mortgages and rent and all the other expenses you have in life, and they have to make a choice, and sometimes the choice they make is to pull their kids out of the Christian school. But if those same parents know that there is available for them scholarship help, that may make the difference in keeping them here. The third thing that it does, and this is sort of a secondary effect, is that it allows you to pay your teachers more, and it allows you to make improvements in the building and the school. And why do I say that? Well, because if you're bringing scholarship money in, you are getting more students and keeping the students that you're not losing, so that as you have more students, and they are paying tuition, you're bringing more money into the school. It costs the same to educate 10 kids as it does 15. So if you're educating 10 and you can have enough money to bring in 15, you've got 5 more students paying tuition. And that helps your bottom line. I will just give you an example with Canaan Christian Academy. In the last 3 years, we have increased our student population by over 30 students. And we figure each student brings in approximately $4,000 in extra money that you wouldn't have had otherwise. So it's not hard to see that 30 times 4,000 is $120,000 more, and it only cost us a couple of thousand for books. That was the only added expense we had. So this program is a great program, and if you look at the brochure that I gave you on the bottom of the front panel, it says, send your PA taxes to your favorite private school. That's what it's all about. Sending the taxes that you would send to Harrisburg, instead sending them to your school's scholarship program. Now there's a lot of explanation to that, but that's essentially the nub of the program, is trying to allow you to take whatever it is you're paying to the PA Department of Revenue and instead giving it to your Christian School Scholarship Fund. And you get a 90% refund. And I know what you're saying. The first thing is, sounds too good to be true. And it does sound too good to be true. But I'm here to tell you that it is true. Canaan Christian Academy has been raising money through this program for the last 18 years. And it's not too good to be true. It is true. The one thing that has changed in the program in the 22 years that it's been in existence, it used to be that you had to be a businessman. You had to pay business taxes to participate. But that changed about 6-7 years ago when the program was opened up through what is called an SPE, or Special Purpose Entity process, whereby individuals who don't have a business can participate. So maybe you go and you work somewhere and you get a paycheck every other week or once a month or whatever, and they take money out of your paycheck. They take it out for the federal government, they take it out for Social Security, and they take it out from the state. It's called the PA Personal Income Tax. So anybody who works outside of the home and gets a paycheck, you are paying that tax. In some cases, even if you're retired, you have income other than retirement income, and Pennsylvania, by the way, does not tax retirement income. But you may have other income. You may have an IRA, you may have other investments, you may own stocks, bonds, etc., and you may be making money in that way also, and you may also be paying the Pennsylvania personal income tax. Just for my curiosity, is there anyone here that owns a business? Anyone? Just one? Oh, two, okay. All right, so there's some special things that I could explain to you that would help, I think, in dealing with a business. But businesses can also use SPE. They can use it online, or they can apply through an SPE. So what the state did was they set up this program, and they said that if you want to direct your tax dollars to a private school scholarship fund, you have to go through what's called a scholarship organization, and then you will get your 90% refund. Well, Penn Gift, the organization that I manage, is a scholarship organization. We are the vehicle through which you channel your donation, which then goes to the school, and then we verify to the state about your donation, give you what you need to prove that you made the donation, and help you and show you how to get your tax credit or your tax refund. When I say tax credit, that really applies to businesses. When I say tax refund, that's to a non-business donor. And if you're a business, you understand quarterly filings and all that sort of thing, and you get a tax credit. And you file for that tax credit every quarter until you've used up the credit that you've earned. So tax refunds for the non-business people, tax credits are for the business people. And let me just throw in one little extra besides that. If you own a business and your business gives a certain amount and you get the tax credit, you can also give as an individual. So you may have income, the business pays the tax, and you may pay the tax. You can do both. You can combine the two. So the beauty of this program is that it's very easy to enroll in it. It's very easy to participate. The timeline is basically that you will donate, if you're interested in doing this, you will donate this fall, probably somewhere around October, November, may even be as late as December. And the only way that you will know when to do that is Krista will give you a call and say, hey, it's time for you to donate, and here's how you do it. And she will have the form that you need. What I'd like to do right now is just go through some of the Q&A questions and answers here, to add a little bit to some of them just to help you out. If at any point you have a question, please stop me, raise your hand. I will stop and I will listen to what your question is, and I'll do my best to answer. Who can give? Well, any individual or couple who pay personal income tax. You don't have to own a business, but businesses can donate also. If you're a business, there are other taxes besides the PA personal income tax, and I can talk to you about them later. Corporate net income is one of them, and there's a couple others. So that's, basically anybody who pays a tax can join this program. Now the minimum that you have to donate, because of the rules that Penn Gift has set up, is you have to be able to donate at least $500. However, to donate $500, you only have to make $18,000 a year. So unless you don't make $18,000, you can participate. The second question is how much? Well, the answer is as much as you or your spouse will pay in the income tax. So let's say you make $30,000 in 2023. You multiply that times the 3.07%, and you roughly come up with $900+ that you could donate. And then when you file, you get 90% back of the $900, or whatever that math number is. I used to be a state representative, and I only talk in millions, so you have to excuse me when I talk about $1,000 here and there. In any event, that's how it works. And it will tell you here, it says, how do I find out how much I'll be paying this year? Well, if you're a wage earner and you get a paycheck, it's pretty easy. They take it out of you every pay period. You just, if you get paid twice a month, you just multiply that number by 24, and that's what you're going to pay. So it's a pretty easy number to figure out. If you're a business person, it may be a little more difficult because businesses aren't always straight line, same amount of income year after year. So you would want to talk perhaps to your accountant to find out how much you think you reasonably would be paying in this year, or you may be able to figure that out yourself. So I always recommend that if you think you're going to pay $10,000 in this tax, don't give $10,000, give $9,000. So in case business doesn't do so good in the last half of the year, you're not donating more than you're going to get a tax credit for. The next question says, do the spouses have to sign the joinder? Which, by the way, the joinder is on the back side of the Q&A sheet, if you look at that. That's the application for you to participate in the program. That's all you got to do is fill that one page out and accompany it with a check. So that this is pretty simple. It's pretty easy to fill this out. If you're a business, you do the right-hand side. If you're an individual who doesn't own a business, you do the left-hand side. Down at the bottom, it says, who do you want the money to go to? What school do you want to give it to? And of course, you want to give it here to Lebanon, right? But you're not obligated to. You can give it to whatever private school you want to. The reason you're here, though, is that you would support Lebanon Christian. In any event, that's all there is to this program, is you fill out the joinder, you make your check, send it in to Penn Gift. Krista will tell you when that is. And then from that point on, she's out of the picture. And Penn Gift makes sure that you have the receipt to prove that you made the donation, so that when you file your taxes in the following spring, you have what you need and you can do it easily. If you have an accountant, your accountant probably already knows about this program and probably knows what to do, and you don't have to even think about it. You just give him what he needs and he'll take care of it. If you file your own taxes, we can give you advice on what to do. We have a printout that tells you exactly how to do it. So you're never left in the lurch, you're never forgotten, you're never without help. If at any point in time you have a question, if you have a need, you call me or you call one of my associates and we will resolve the problem that you have and answer the questions. So it's fairly simple process. And that is the next question. It says, how will I get the tax credit? Well, as I said, you file it in early 2024. And when the Department of Revenue gets the information from you that they need, then they process your request for your refund and they send that to you. They'll send you the refund in a check form, or if you give them your banking account number, they will make you an electronic deposit in your checkbook for you. So that's how you get it. Either get a check or you get electronic transfer. If you're a business person, you take the credit when you file your quarterly taxes, and you don't file as much because you're using the credit for what you would have owed. So your tax burden is less. That's why we call it a tax credit. You don't actually get a refund, you just pay less taxes when you file quarterly. The next question is, what will it cost you? Well, 10%. If you give $1,000 out of pocket, it's going to cost you $100. And by any account today, that's probably the best you'll ever do on anybody ever giving you a break on your taxes. So it's really very beneficial to you to participate. It's very beneficial to the school. The next question, is it difficult? No, obviously. I just told you that. It's a one-page joinder that you fill out. The reason they call it a joinder is because you are joining with Penn Gifts LLC, which gets the tax credit, and we distribute that to the people who give the donation. So it's a one-pager. It doesn't get much easier than that. All we need is some simple information, contact information, social security number, etc. That way, we make sure you get the tax credit. The next one is, what do I have to do this? You will be notified when, either by Penn Gift or the school you are supporting. Notification is usually in September, October, and you have 30 days to return the joinder and check after being notified. I will be calling Krista and saying, Krista, you may now ask your donors to give whatever it is they said they would give, and with a joinder that's completed. Krista will collect the joinders and the checks from you, and she will send them to me. What will happen next is I will call you and say thank you for supporting Lebanon Christian Academy Scholarship Fund. And then you will get a letter from us as well that says that. And then in early 2024, you get what's called a PAK-1, which is an official receipt that you will give to the Department of Revenue when you file your taxes, as proof that you paid it. Believe it or not, the state doesn't take your word for it. They want proof that you actually made the donation. So that's what we do. We provide the donation for you. So we walk you through the process. We will tell you what you need to do. Some people need some help, some people don't. Again, if you have an accountant that does your taxes for you, he or she probably already knows how to do this, and you won't have any headaches at all. But if you do have problems, if you do have questions, you can contact us. We also, at Penn Gift, we have on retainer an accounting firm called RKL. They're kind of big in the Lancaster area and Reading area. And they will provide you with expert advice if you need it. And they will also talk to your accountant if your accountant is unfamiliar with the program at no cost to you. RKL is on a retainer with Penn Gift. And so whenever we ask them to help one of you folks who donate and needs a question answered, you don't get charged for it. Penn Gift doesn't charge you for anything. I do not charge for being here tonight. I do not charge you when you call up and say, Jerry, I have a problem. I'm not going to charge you for anything. The only way that we exist and we can pay our bills is we take money from the money that the school raises and we take a percentage of it. We take 10% on the first $50,000, and after $50,000 we take 5%. So it's a fairly reasonable fee. Most scholarship organizations do that. And we are helping the school, obviously, raising as much money as they can bring donors in for. And we handle all the paperwork. Krista doesn't have to do any of the paperwork other than get the checks and the joinders from you and sending them to me. She does not have to file anything with the state. She doesn't have to do anything special. We do the heavy lifting, if I can use that phrase. So we do the hard work, basically, and we have to be paid. So, we can't do it for free. That's life, right? I mean, you do expect to pay for stuff like that. And then the last question says, if I donate through Penn Gift in 2023, will I be a preferred donor in 2024? The answer is obviously yes. So you can continue to give year after year after year. You can also increase that giving if Krista says to me, oh, we raised $40,000 last year, but I think I can raise $60,000 this year. I'll say, okay, I have the credits, go ahead raise the other extra $20,000. And what she will do is go back to you who gave this year and say, hey, do you want to do it again? So that's the way we operate. We try to give people who are already online and have already been giving, we try to give them first in line status, which is, by the way the state runs the program too. But in any event, that's the Q&A section. The other piece of paper that you have attached here is the request to participate. If you want to participate in this program, you need to give this, fill it out first, but then give it to Krista. Then she will know who she needs to call come September, October, whenever it is that I call her and tell her that she can start to collect the donations. That's the process in a few short words. But there are a couple of things I want to share with you besides the actual mechanism here. The first thing is, if you look at the panel where it says, send your PA taxes to your favorite private school. As I said earlier, you could explain the program to somebody in that one sentence. One of the things that we have found at Canaan Christian Academy, by the way, and I've been here several times. You probably don't recognize my face, but I wasn't in here. I was in the gym. I was coaching basketball teams, so I'm very familiar with your gym, not so much with your auditorium. But we have found that the donors generally will, if you treat them right, they will give year after year after year. Many of our donors at Canaan are business people, and not all of them are believers. There are business people, there are banks, there are other organizations that will give to your scholarship organization, even though they may not have kids here, they may not be Christians, but they understand a couple of things that if you're going to help promote this program, that I think you need to know. Number one, they don't want to see their money go down the rat hole in Harrisburg. We know that it does go down the rat hole. And I tell people that I know it's a rat hole because I was a state representative for 22 years and I was one of those rats. And I saw the money going down rat holes. So I know that there is a strong desire on the part of donors to keep the money in their community. They want to keep it nearby. The second thing is that we at Canaan Christian Academy always promote our business donors. We have a banner that we put up in one of the central areas of our school, and it says, "Thank you to all our EITC donors." And we list all the businesses. We put their logo. If they have a business logo, we put it on the banner. And if they are just individual donors who don't own a business, then we put their names and we thank them. The other thing that I want to point out to you is, and I mentioned this in our church the other day, I don't know about you, but I'm very distressed about where this country is headed. I shudder to think what's happening to our country. And we get frustrated, don't we? Like, you watch the news and you see what things are being said. You know that a lot of it's lies. You know that a lot of it's a liberal slop. It's anti-Christian. It's anti-God. And you say to yourself, well, what can I do? I'm just one person. I don't know what I can do. And I told our people, I said, listen, the one thing you can do, and this is sage advice that I got a long, long time ago from my mentor, who told me, do what you can where you are with what you have. Well, here you are in this church, supporting this Christian school. With what you have is this program. It gives you the opportunity to give your tax dollars to a Christian school scholarship fund instead of just simply shipping them off to Harrisburg. So what you can do may not seem really earth-shakingly important to you, but it is important in the lives of these young people. Our enrollment right now at Canaan is floating around 170. We can handle about another 20, 25 students, and then we're going to be out of room. But we are going to get to that point where we're going to have 190 students because our enrollment keeps growing year after year after year, and I think you're seeing the same thing here too. And the reason why you're seeing it is because these parents see what's going on in the world just like you do. You see the woke agenda, you see the lies that many people in government who should know better are promoting. You see the moral decay. They do too. And they want to protect their children. Parents want the best for their children. You can make a difference in the lives of those kids, and it's not very painful to give a 10% of a donation. If you can afford to give $1,000 to this program and it only costs you $100, I would think you're doing a great thing. And some of you may be able to give a lot more than that. I don't know. I have no idea. I have never met any of you before, and I have except for Krista. And I know she's not making a lot of money, but because I know where she works. So the thing is, you can make a difference if you want to through this program. It's a solid way to do it. It's a proven way to do it. It is going to affect the lives of some young people that for a long time to come. Just not having them in the public school system, being exposed to a lot of what we see going on today that we disagree with, but then also including putting them in a Christian environment where they're reading the Bible and they're getting it preached to them and discussed with them, and it's infused in a worldview in the educational system, is a great thing that you can do. And this program is one way that you can do it. So I'm going to stop here and open it up to any questions you may have. I know I didn't see any hands go up, but that doesn't mean you don't have questions, and I will do my best to help you through this program. Anyone have a question for me? If you want, I can sing and dance until you think of one. But you wouldn't want me to sing. My choir director once told me that. She said, I would have liked to ask you to join the choir, but she says I would have to hear you sing. So I don't think I will. Yes?
So just to understand this, maybe I'm not completely getting this. I am paying my taxes plus 10% if I do this program. So I'm going to end up paying 10% more than...
No. Are you employed at a business or whatever?
I
You get a paycheck.
get a paycheck, yes.
Okay. So they take the money out of you, you're actually prepaying it because they're already taking it out of your check. Your employer takes the money and turns around and sends it to Harrisburg. So you never touch it, actually. It just, they take it out of you, out of your gross amount, and then you get a net amount in your paycheck. So the money's already been taken out of your paycheck. So you're actually reclaiming 90% of it and giving it to the school. You don't pay 10% more in taxes.
So then how is the state okay with not getting their 90%?
Because that's the program. The program was set up 22 years ago to aid private schools, and they put a cap on that. Not every, they say they're only going to allow X amount of million of dollars to be allowed in this program, which right now is running in the 260 million range. So they're allowing $260 million to go back to people through this program.
And in doing this, we are in some way now making the school beholden to, because I know a lot of times when you receive government money for things like that, now the government can say, well, you have to teach this in your school.
That's a great question, and I can tell you that I was a legislator for 22 years. I was a state representative, and we voted on the Tom Ridge voucher program. The voucher program would have put you in a position where the government might have been able to do that. So this plan came along after the vouchers failed. And this program I believe in because it doesn't do the things that you would have not wanted it to do. The voucher plan would have said that you would have had to have all of your teachers state certified, which I don't believe. Teacher has to be state certified to be a good teacher, because many of them are certified and they're lousy teachers. By the way, I'm state certified. That doesn't mean I'm a lousy one, but the other thing is that they said that you would not be able to force students to take religious or Bible classes. Well, that's what we're here for. I mean, don't tell us you're going to let kids opt out of the program. And the third thing, and probably the most devastating of those things, was that you would have had to have open enrollment, have to take every kid who came along, whether you liked them or not. So you could have devil worshippers coming in and spreading their vile ideas and ideology in the school. So that never happened. So the voucher program went away. EITC was a replacement for it. It's a good program. The state does not know who the kids are that are getting the money. They do know who the donors are because that's how they give you the tax credit or the tax refund. They have to know who you are to give you that. But they don't know who the kids are that are getting the money. They don't tell the school that you've got to give so much to each kid. They don't put any restrictions on it. So the school has the ability to decide what kids get the money and how much they get. So it's sort of like a arm's length away from the state. The state has only a minimal amount of knowledge of who the kids are that are getting the money. They don't know their names. The only thing that we report to the state is what county they lived in, what school district they lived in, and what grade they were in. That's all they know. They don't know the kids' names, and we wouldn't give them their names. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's a good question because you want to make sure that we're not putting ourselves in jeopardy by doing this. And this program keeps you from being in jeopardy, I think. And as I said, we've been doing it at Cana for 18 years, and we've had no problems. Now, if they come along and they put another restriction on us and they do something like, say, I mentioned earlier that you can't force kids to attend a Bible class, we wouldn't be in the program anymore. You're not going to tell us how to run our curriculum and our program. So I hope that helps. We feel it's very safe and it's protected, as it is. If it changes, that's a different story, but the program has been essentially the same for the 22 years that it's been around.
So just to be clear, I have state taxes taken out of mine and my husband's paychecks. Am I not having that taken out of my paycheck now and it's going?
No, you'll still have it taken out. You're just getting a refund back you're getting 90% back of what you paid, and you're giving it to the school.
But I'm writing a
that you think you're going to pay that year. That's why one of the questions is, how do I know what to donate? Well, it's based on how much you pay in taxes. The state will give you 90% back on the amount that you pay in 2023 in state taxes that are eligible, which for most people is personal income tax.
Right, but money has already come out of my paycheck,
Yes,
and now I'm writing another check.
you're writing a check, but you're going to get a refund either directly deposited in your checking account, or you're going to get a paper check.
When you file your tax.
Yeah, when you file your taxes.
So it's like an overpayment. So you make the payment. Arizona did the same thing. Arizona did a tax credit. They do the same thing for a private school. But you normally make that payment by the time you file your taxes. You make a payment by a deadline and you pay it. But they only did it based on your filing status and your tax bracket. You can make a payment amount up to a certain amount, not, I think it's structured a little different than this. And then when you make that payment, then your refund comes back, to you.
Yeah, you're paying it up front and getting it back later.
So you're kind of paying a fee, essentially, that 10% that you're not getting back. So your taxes that you are having withheld from your check is going to the state, but it's gonna get funneled back to the program. So you're paying it to the school, it goes to the state, you file your taxes, and it circulates back to you minus the 10%. So it's not like a look at it like a transaction fee. You're missing, you pay $1,000, you're gonna miss that $100 as a transaction fee, basically. And you're gonna keep that,
And the school will get the,
comes back to you,
Yeah.
$100.
yeah, she's right, what she's saying. Another way to look at it is that I'm telling the state to give what I gave to them, not voluntarily, of course, but I had to. I'm telling the state, give it to Lebanon Christian School. Give 90% of it.
Say that could be $1,000, but then in the fall, you gotta send $1,000 check to the school.
Yes, so you're,
Wait till February, March to get that $1,000 back.
well, you'll actually wait longer than that. You'll probably wait until the end of the summer until you get it back. So you're putting up front the money, and you're waiting on it to come back. So you don't use money that you need to buy groceries with to do this.
I don't know, it sounds like a good idea, but I don't know many people that could just throw $1,000 check away, not throw it away, but just like, here's $1,000 check to a program for the school, which is a good thing, but have to wait another year to get it back.
It's not a year, but it's probably eight months, I would say. Well, that's why I say, don't give money that you need for your everyday expenses. It's got to be money that you can afford to upfront and wait for it to get back. But the people that participate in the program, I can tell you, many of them are not high-income people. I have teachers who are in the $20,000 a year range who donate $500 a year to their schools. And I know they're living close to the vest. It all depends on whether or not you have the ability to wait for that 8 or 9 months to get your refund. And there are a lot of people that that do. So, it's all whether or not you can afford, Krista.
And just think of it, if you can't do it yourself, we need help getting the word out to people that you might know that can, like businesses, relatives, that can part with their money for 8 months.
Yeah, and grandmas and grandpas can if they pay the tax. The problem with grandmas and grandpas is Pennsylvania does not tax pensions and retirement payments and things of that sort. So it's a selective group. Obviously, not everybody can do it. And that's why Penn Gift says that you only have to give $500. Some scholarship organizations require $3,000, $5,000 before they'll let you give. $500 is a very low amount. It's a very low entry way to get into the program. And you know, I would recommend that if you really want to help and you want to do this, then do it for $500 or do it for $1,000. See how it works out. I'm convinced that God will honor your ability to help the school. That, you know, if you put your faith in the Lord to provide for you while you're trying to help the school, I think He will. So there's a, you know, for some people that's a question of their faith and thinking or deciding on whether or not they're going to trust God to take care of their needs. So, yeah, and everybody's different, you know. I know of people that give. Well, I have one donor to Canaan that gives $55,000 a year, but he owns a business. He owns a construction business, and he makes real good money, and he's not afraid to plug it back in. So that $55,000 he gives costs him $5,500, but he can afford it, and he wants to do it. And his kids are in our school, but they can't get any of the scholarships because he makes too much money. There is a ceiling. You can only make so much money. There's a family limit on how much income you can have. And it's a fairly generous one. For a family of four, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $140,000 they can make, and they could still get a scholarship. So the scholarship program is targeted for middle and lower income people. And I'm sure you have a lot of students that fit into those categories. Canaan has 80% of our families qualify. 80%. We give scholarship help to. And because we raise what we raise, we are able to give a minimum to every family of $1,700. And our tuition is $5,000 for the first student. So we're giving them about a fourth of what their tuition is, which is a big help. It helps a lot of people. Yes?
So then, this year you write the check, but when it comes in next year, like so 2024's taxes, would that then not automatically come out? Would it not, because you filed this particular way, would that stop coming out automatically from your paycheck?
No, you have to keep doing that. And then that's the amount you could give in 2024 for the next school year. And that's what happens. A lot of people give 1 year, so let's use the $1,000 figure again. So they give $1,000 in 2022. They got their refund in September of 2023. Then they just wait until they're asked to give again. So they use that same $1,000 that they got from the last year. So the first year is the one that hurts because from that point on, you can use the year before and you can use that to make your donations. So there is a waiting period, and I do tell people about that because it is a consideration. But if you're in a position where you can afford to give that amount and it doesn't hurt you and you can manage, and then God bless you, and then we hope that you can do that. Any other questions? Yes?
So you don't have to give the full amount of what you paid?
No, you can give whatever you want.
You decide.
It can't be more than what you pay because they're not going to give you 90% unless you had paid that much. So if you owed $2,000 in taxes, you can't give $2,300 and expect 90% back at $2,300. They're only going to give you 90% of $2,000. But you can give $1,000 and you'll get 90% of anything up to the $2,000 mark. Does that make sense? Sure. Yes, sir.
When you're saying how much the school receives, how do they determine, is it, you have this much of a limit and you gotta work up to that? And
How much will the school receive?
yeah, from all the,
Well, in June, I will be sending out a survey to Krista, and it will say, how much do you want? How much do you think you can raise? Because we are limited in the number of tax credits, the amount of tax credits that we can give your school. And because of where we're at in 2023, I can probably guarantee her almost every dollar that she asked for. So in June till mid-July, I wait for the returns of the survey to come back, and I deal with like 50 schools. So all 50 schools send me in the survey saying how much they want, and I look and see if I can give them all what they ask for. I reserve that credit for them. So then if I can do that, and I probably will this year because I have over $1 million that I know of that I can distribute to schools. I will call Krista up. Let's say she asked for $80,000. I'll call her up and say, yeah, you go get your 80,000. And here's the form that you need. Send that to the people who said they would donate and try to raise the 80,000. Now, because we are on a 2-year cycle, the year after, I will tell her that I will give you what you raised in 2023, but I don't know if I can give you any more than that. So 2023 is a good year for you to get out and get donors because I always treat prior year donors and I put them at the head of the line. So in 2024, whatever she was able to raise in 2023, I'll guarantee her that. Now, I may not be able to give her more than that, but I will give her what she brought in 2023. Yes, sir.
So if we sign up for this, isn't there a way to just tell the state, you know, this is where we want our money to go instead of,
You tell us. You don't tell the state. The state doesn't know who you give it to.
well, why can't they write the check to you?
Well, that's not the way they set the program up.
Yeah, this is the intermediary, so that they can't tell the school, you have to do this, you have to do that. That's where the voucher program comes in.
So we can't say we don't want our taxes to go to the local public school instead of.
No, you can't do that. I wish you could, but you can't. The program, the way they set it up, they had 3 goals in mind. They wanted to help lower and middle income people, which it does. They wanted to give some help to people who could only afford to give small amounts, which it does. And the other thing is that it gives parents an opportunity to support their private schools. Even though they're not guaranteed that they will get scholarship money, they still have the opportunity to support their school. I will tell you that most of the people who give through Penn Gift to private schools are doing it not because of any particular student in mind. They want to help all the students in their school. And they are motivated by the idea that, hey, I'm not sending it to Harrisburg where I know who knows where it's going to go. I'm giving it to my school that either I have a heart for it, or I have kids in it, or grandkids in it, or whatever. Whatever their motivation is, it's different for everybody else. That's what they're doing it for. They're not looking at it so much as, oh, you know, I'm getting a great 90% back. That's, I suspect many of these people would do it if they only got 50% back. But anyway, you had a question?
So if we wanted to share with businesses and other people about what is the best way for us to be able to share the information?
You give them one of these, and on there is our email and phone numbers. And you say, if you want to know more, I will call them, or one of my associates will call. We have 3 people that work in our office, so one of us will call them and explain the program. And if possible, if it's not out of the way too much, we will actually stop in and visit with them person to person. Yesterday I was in Mannheim. I was at the S. Clyde Weaver store. Is any of you familiar with that? I see a few heads bobbing. They give to several schools. They're not necessarily connected to any one school, but they bring in employees and they explain the program to them. And they said that, you know, we'd like to have more of our employees participate in the program. So they're not even a school, but they're trying to raise money for Christian schools that they may not necessarily have any contacts with or any relationship with. In the past, they've supported Mannheim Christian School. They've supported, can't think of, I think Lancaster County Christian. I'm not sure at this point, but they just gave because they believe in Christian education, and the owners are Christians. So they wanted to use this program, just like, you know, we said they didn't want their money going to Harrisburg when they could give it, you know, to a local cause that they believe in. There's a lot of people that do that. They're not targeting it to a necessarily one school. They were giving to 3 different schools. And they had no relationship with any of the 3. None of their kids went there. They just supported Christian education. So they saw the value of the program to the cause of Christ. And so they gave generously. They've been giving like $25,000 a year. Of course, they have 150 employees. They are a multi-million company, so they pay a lot of taxes, you know. I suspect they pay a lot more than the $25,000 that they put into the EITC program. And a lot of businesses do. It's like the gentleman that I mentioned that gives to Canaan $55,000. He'll never be able to get a scholarship. He makes $1 million a year. His income level is way too high, but he believes in Christian ed. And his kids go to the Christian school. They're not going to help. It's not going to help his kids. But on the other hand, he doesn't need the help because he's making $1 million a year. So he sees the need, and he sees the bigger picture is Christian education is important, if not for me directly, but for the community. And that's why a lot of banks give, by the way. Banks give to Christian schools through EITC. Car dealerships like to do it. And they consider it to be good public relations. They believe in keeping the money locally as well. And, I've suggested to Krista that contacting the bank that you do business with would be a good place to start. Say, hey, what do you have, Effort National or something here? I forget what. So you go to the bank and say, do you participate in EITC? If you do, how about including us? Because they probably already give to other schools. It's just a question of having them add you to the list. Canaan has 5 banks right now. We have 5 banks. We only use one bank. We only use one bank, do our checking account and our other stuff, but the other 4 just give, and substantially.
Can it be a credit union too, or just banks?
It's whoever pays the tax. I don't have the list with me. I'm not sure. It's bank shares tax. Do credit unions pay that? You know what? I have it in my car. If you want to just check with me after we're done here, I can go in my car. I have a list of which, as long as they pay the taxes that are eligible, they can join. They can participate. Anything else? Okay, if you didn't get your question asked, I will stick around for a few minutes, and if you have anything else you would like to share with me, I'd be more than happy to do that. So I would ask you, if you are interested in participating, that you take the second sheet, fill it out, give it to Krista. This is not an obligation on your part. You are not signing your life away. You're not signing money out of your wallet. All you're doing is saying, Krista, I'm interested, contact me in the fall, and we'll talk turkey. Okay, we'll talk numbers and we'll see if I want to participate. But that lets her know, number one, that you were here, but number two, also that you are interested. And she will contact you later in the year. Okay, Pastor, is there anything else you wanted to share with the folks before we go?
No, sir. I appreciate everyone coming out tonight. And again, my encouragement would be, as we've been encouraged tonight, to consider who else we might be able to ask to participate. Perhaps you have dealings with someone at your local bank. I want to ask them. I think, again, those are great opportunities for us just to be able to reach out and find the best way that we can to help Lebanon Christian Academy as we seek to continue to move forward for Christ.
Yeah, and you can photocopy this Q&A sheet and give it to other people. And Krista will have some of these available for you as well. Remind me to give them to you. Because I don't remember what I gave you last time I was here. So we will have the information you need if you want to share this with someone else. And maybe you have some people that want to participate that couldn't be here tonight, or maybe you know of. Or ask your boss. If you're working someplace, ask your boss if he or she would want to participate in it and help you out, or your school anyway. Okay, thank you for coming. I think you have some refreshments out there, do you? Yeah. There's a couple of sticky buns or something out there. Help yourselves.